The average solo GP is dead. Being handcuffed to a practice that only makes money while you're drilling crushes your freedom. Being trapped at the office is no way to experience life. And doing more fillings and crowns ain't the answer to freedom. Stop it. Freedom comes when your practice makes money without you. Freedom is choosing how many days and how you dental. Ready to forge your freedom? Then keep listening to become a super GP and super CEO. This is the Titanium Practice Podcast with your host, Dr. Stephen Freeman. Let's go.
Hello, all you beautiful people out there. Dr. Stephen Freeman of the Titanium Practice Podcast coming at you with a scheduled, technically, podcast, because you don't know that I didn't think about recording a podcast right now. But I just watched a show on ESPN, and they were talking to J.J. Watt, who is a retired defensive end, primarily with the Houston Texans. And they were talking about the fact that J.J. Watt, he was one of the greatest defensive players ever in the NFL. What that man was able to do in a short amount of time was incredible. I have told you before, I'm an Ohio State fan. J.J. Watt came out of Wisconsin. And Wisconsin didn't necessarily have that great of teams while he was there, but every time Ohio State had to play Wisconsin, I was scared about going to Camp Randall, which I went to a game there as a non-Ohio State fan. My buddies and I do a guys trip every single year, and we just choose a game to go to. And it was our first game after COVID when people were allowed into the stadium, and it was just magical. And I would encourage you all to try to find something like that to do every single year, something that is a tradition that you and your friends go and do. And it doesn't need to be just guys, it can be guys and girls. We try to take trips and everything like that as couples as well. But we set aside that time and we choose a Saturday, typically in the fall, to go to a football game and then go and experience that town. And it is just, there are so many memories from that. There's so many great times. There's stuff that happens while you're doing that you just can't replicate at home, or while your spouse is around, or whatever have you. It's just different to get out of your element with your buddies, with your friends, and go and do that stuff. So please go and do that. So I had a chance to go to Camp Randall. I jumped around leading into the fourth quarter. It was great. It was amazing. Plenty of alcohol was to be had during the entire event, and it was just so great. So please go and have those experiences like that. It's an absolutely fantastic time. But as far as getting back to J.J. Watt, so he's been retired now for a little bit, and he was Defensive Player of the Year a couple of times. I believe in college he was Defensive Player of the Year. It's just, what an amazing career. But that man never reached the Super Bowl. And obviously we could go down a long list of amazing players that never actually got a chance to play in a Super Bowl, let alone win a Super Bowl. And yet you look at it, and to hear that man, and he called the game, or at least the pregame going up ahead of time. And he had the whole thing with his hair, so that probably got him in the news a little bit more, which is why I even got this to begin with. But he was talking about regret. The regret of never actually playing in the big game. Because he had won the Walter Payton Person of the Year award in the past, which that was another guy. I grew up outside of Chicago. Got a chance to meet Walter Payton actually a couple times. Got to play soccer against his son a few times. It was what a great human being. What a blessing. It was the first time that I ever saw like a crazy. It was like he drove a navy blue, midnight blue Lamborghini. It was like the coolest car that I ever saw in my entire life, and that was absolutely amazing. And I was like, I always wanted, like, if you could get me. Like, I you know, I try to decide what I want to do about cars from time to time, and I'm just like, I really should go get that car and have a navy blue or midnight blue Lamborghini, because I just think it would be like, that was my childhood dream car, so I should probably just go and do it. But the point of this is overall of something bigger than a car. I mean, the Super Bowl is as big of a deal as it gets in a sporting event. Nothing gets bigger. As we've talked about, it was the highest rated show that's ever occurred this past Super Bowl that occurred. And it's the biggest thing going on. And I guess you could say maybe as far as in the world is concerned, you talk about the World Cup, but in America, it does not get better than the Super Bowl, because nearly everybody is watching that game. And this man who accomplished almost everything in his career that he could possibly achieve except winning the Super Bowl. And you sit there and you think about, what is it out there in your life that you sit back when you are done with it? And so we're talking maybe about bigger things than just a sporting event. And you sit there and you think, I don't want to sit there at the end and ever have any regrets at all. Because accomplishing things means doing things that are scary. They are. There's no two ways about it. When I think about the fact that I went back and I opened a 12,000 square foot office with 20 plus, I don't even remember how many ops it is, like 25, 26 ops, whatever it is, with room for more upon that. I should have been scared shitless about doing that. I mean, the bill for it at the time, it just seemed like all the money in the world, but I didn't care because I had belief in the fact that this was going to work. I mean, you put the numbers down on the paper and you know what the office is going to jump to once you actually have a sign out on the main road. My original practice was in a professional building because I thought that's what you should do. Have a professional building. It's tucked away. No one knows you're there. And it was pretty. It was a very pretty building. And I was an idiot. I'll say this as a sidetrack to talking about the fact of, like, I sold that the condo that was in. Man, that was a stupid decision. If you own the space that you're in, God, maybe if you're renting it, and we should talk about that at some point in time. Hold on to it, because these plum spaces are incredibly valuable. I just got a quote, so I'm thinking about doing another building, and I've gone back and forth about it, about the idea of maybe doing another practice, and it's an awful lot of work, and I can do it, and I know it'll be successful, but it's like, do I really want to put more time and attention into making that happen? So the exterior build out was going to be, so the shell of the building was going to be about $200 a square foot. That doesn't include any of the site planning stuff, but the shell was going to be $200, and then the build out was going to be $250 a square foot. God, when I started doing this, it was like $125 a square foot, and now it's double that. And I sound like the old man of saying that of, well, back in my day, we would do this for $100 a square foot, and now it's $250 a square foot. But if you have the ability to retain a built-out space, you have no idea how valuable that space is. And I was an idiot. And this is only a couple of years ago. This is 6-7 years ago now at this point in time, that I should have just held onto that space because it was gorgeous. We had spent an enormous amount of money on that build out. But at the same time, I was, to a degree, wanting to pay down debt. And so I got caught up in that and ended up selling that space, and it just applied to my loan of my bigger building. But there was that there wasn't even that much fear in diving into building that big of a building, because I knew what I truly wanted was to basically have this annuity, for lack of a better term, available to me. That sign and that building are on the main road in town. So I'm in St. Augustine, Florida. St. Augustine is kind of a weird town because it's There's the actual Old Town St. Augustine, which all of you should visit at some point in time. It's amazing. It's the oldest continuously inhabited town in the country. And then there are outskirts part of it. So I'm in what's called the World Golf Village portion of it. And that's where the Golf Hall of Fame used to be. They closed it down recently, blah, 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 moved it away, whatever. COVID did that in, but that's a whole nother story. But the whole area is called World Golf Village, but it's this section or this area that's pretty darn small, to be honest with you. But I'm on the main drag. I'm on International Golf Parkway. So that is the main drag of the area. And anybody who's going anywhere, you want to get to the interstate, you want to get to Costco, we got a Buc-ee's nearby. And if you haven't been to a Buc-ee's, hold on to your hat, because damn, that place is full of energy and awesomeness. So anyways, if you want to go anywhere, you've got to drive down International Golf Parkway. So I've got this gigantic sign and this gigantic building that sits on International Golf Parkway. I also own another 1.5 acres behind it. At some point in time, I'm going to build another building or two out there. I keep trying to go back in my mind what it is that I want to do with that space, so I haven't exactly built it out just yet. But I'm going to. I think I'm going to put the specialist back out there, but I haven't quite put my stamp on what I want to do with it. But the point is I knew that giant building would A, pay for itself, and B, it's essentially my retirement account. I'm not putting that money into an annuity. I got a giant sign that's going to bring me 50, 60, 70. I don't even know how many new patients a month just with that giant sign sitting right there on the main drag, and this beautiful freaking building sitting right out there on the main drag. People see it. I don't know how many people I didn't know how many influencers, so to speak, that were out there in the area, the world, whatever. Everyone's trying to be an influencer. I guess that's kind of my role as well, as I'm trying to influence y'all to make sure that you're making wise decisions with your business and taking great steps. But they do photo shoots out in front of it. And they come into the office and they're patients and they're great. They're fantastic. But it attracts people. There's so many people who said, I just wanted to be a patient because this building looks so great. I never crossed my mind. Didn't even consider that someone would actually feel that way. But the ability to do things with a larger facility is absolutely unmatched. Like when we do our free dentistry day, we can have dentists from all over come and help us. We used to do it over in our smaller building when I used to have 4 operatories, and there was only so much we could do. I had one other dentist come in and help me, and I think an associate, and then we cleaned some teeth and we did some fillings and some extractions, and that was it. But that was with 4 operatories. And now with 20 whatever we've got, you can so much more than you can help out with. But again, the point about this is talking about regret. Make sure you're doing the things in this life that you need to be doing. Do not regret not doing something. I think that tracks correctly. I tell my son and both of my kids all the time, and you may think it's weird talking to young kids about this, but I tell them all the time, you got one spin on this merry-go-round. Please do the things that you want to be doing. In order to do the things that you want to be doing, you have got to have the freedom to do those things. You've got to. You don't have any choice. And so ad nauseum, I have talked about the fact that a filling, doing another filling is not how you get to freedom. Doing another crown is not how you get to freedom. We need to get you to a spot and a place where you are at least matching your income, but now not sitting at the dental chair over and over and over again doing these things. Another hygiene check is not going to get you to freedom. What will get you to freedom is if we can match your income, but be there a fraction of the time of where you are right now. Today, what I did is, it was Valentine's Day today when I'm recording this. And when what we did today is my wife and I spent the day together, the whole day. It was great. So we got to go and do, a couple things together during the course of the day, away from the kids. My kids were at school, and we got to just be together. And it's fun. We spend a lot of time together, and it's an amazing opportunity to say, I don't need to go into work to make money. I don't need to go into work today because I'm the boss and I can control things. I didn't need to go into work today because I just don't need to go into work because I have created a lifestyle for myself that allows me to do that. And I don't say that in any way to brag, but what I'm saying is there's nothing special about me. Nothing at all. You all can do exactly what I did. And the steps and the plan of what I did is that I said I knew general dentistry, me doing all the general dentistry, was not going to get me to where I wanted it to be. What did I need to do? I needed to go out and learn how to do specialty procedures. And that's exactly what I did. I swore to God I was never going to place an implant. Boom. 5,000+ implants later, I placed a ton of implants. And they're pretty good. It's great. It's not like I received any special training to do this. Anything that none of you can't do. You all can absolutely do it. Drilling through bone, easier than drilling into a tooth. And you know that. You know that for a fact because you know enamel is the hardest substance in the body. The bone, you just drill into it. The exact same thing. You just don't push quite as hard. But here's the great thing is you actually have a step-by-step formula of how you're going to drill into the bone. It's great. Just keep it hydrated. Don't over prep it. That's all you need to do. Screw a screw into it. It's done. It's honest to God that simple. Ortho, again, 80% of the cases that are going to walk through the door are class 1. We're not messing with their occlusion. We're just straightening them. The wires that come in these kits, the nickel titanium wires, remember the U shape. They remember what a U is. What is a perfect arch form? It's a U. You put the brackets in the right spot, which we teach you to scan, have indirect bonding trays done, because if you place that bracket in the dead center of the clinical crown of the tooth and then put a nickel titanium wire into it, it will move the tooth into the exact spot it's supposed to be. This isn't rocket surgery. It's not. This is simple stuff. Now, if you want to go and mess around with other classes of occlusion, it gets a little bit harder. There are some things you need to know about that. But 80% of the ortho that walks through your door, you can do it. You don't need to refer it down the road. I can only think of you're scared because in dental school, they said, this is how you do ortho, and they handed you a referral pad. They handed you a referral pad and they said, this is how you do ortho. They handed you a referral pad and say, this is how you do an implant. It's just not that hard. The people that are doing this stuff, they take more school, all that stuff, but it's not like necessarily that they're better clinicians than you. And yeah, there's better clinicians than you out there than you. There's better clinicians out there than me. It's not like I'm doing something special. It's just I've chosen to go back to talking about one of my other podcasts about the fact that I'm not going to be scared and I'm not going to regret doing these things, even though I was told in school that I should just refer them down the road. Do you know how easy it is to do a root canal on one of these maxillary central incisors? Now the canals are wide, so that creates a little bit of an issue of the fact that you have to use some larger files than maybe what we initially talk about going into and going through our sequence that you can find out all in my book if you go to titaniumpractice.com that you can download for free. But at the same time, it's almost makes it easier because you're going to fall into the canal faster. You're going to find it easier. You just got to do just a little bit more instrumentation or different instrumentation. But please Don't be sitting there years, decades from now, regretting the decision to say, I wish I had tried some of those more advanced procedures that we all know. You all know that specialists make more money than general dentists do. You all do. God, they better. They spend another 2, 3 in the course of oral surgeon, 6 years longer in school than us. Oh my God. And part of me says, how stupid is that? I mean, yes, they receive some specialized training for that, but they miss out on the opportunity to do all these things that you get to do. How lucky are you? How blessed are you that you get to do all of these things or none of them? How cool is that? Because I'm at the point where I just don't do any of them at this point in time, but I've done all of it. I've done sleep apnea, which, by the way, gosh, if we could just get medical insurance out of the way, that is the big problem with sleep apnea. If you can figure out that hurdle, which we kind of did, man, sleep apnea is so rewarding. We don't sleep in this country. Our sleep is for shit in this country. And if we could just figure out a way to help people realize that a simple plastic appliance in their mouth will make them live a decade longer, who wouldn't trade that for $3,000? A decade for $3,000. If you just say those things, and I say that in my little spiel to the patient, would you trade $3,000 for a decade? If you don't take that trade, you're an idiot and I don't want to work with you. And so I never have problems walking out of there. They either accept it or they don't. Because I've done my job. I've told them the information. I've told them what I can do for them, and they can choose to believe it or not. But that's the power of this stuff. But we've got stuff for veneers too to improve people's self-confidence about how they feel about their smile. But you put short-term orthodontics together with no prep veneers, God, that's such a home run. And that's the only way that I'll do cosmetics now. Is we're going to do some short-term ortho to straighten the teeth, so we're not over prepping the teeth, and all we're doing is just scanning the mouth, we get the veneers back, and we bond them into place, and that's it. That's it. It's so easy. But you just do it on your terms. You do it on your terms. And that's what we teach you to do, is you can do all of this stuff on your terms. And if the patient doesn't choose to do it, then they don't choose to do it. And if they want to go get their teeth drilled down to little nubs, then so be it. That's their choice. They get to do it. It's their mouth. But don't regret choosing to have your freedom. You can have all the freedom. You just need to learn. You become a super GP, and then you get to choose from there. Keep working, don't work, don't care. Your choice. Become a super CEO. I can help you do that. We'll drive up profits at that point in time because now we can drill down on the numbers rather than teeth. It's that simple. But please don't have the same regret as one of the greatest players in NFL history that says, I wish I'd gotten to play in the big game. You can play in the big game too, whatever that thing is to you. Does that mean going to Europe? Does that mean a world cruise? Does that mean sitting on your couch every single day? If that's what it means to you, awesome, great. Do not care. I love it. Man, I am an all or nothing personality. If you tell me that we're going to sit on the couch today and watch TV all day long, which I love doing on a college football Saturday, sweet. I'm totally in. If you tell me that we're going to go jump out of an airplane, totally in as well. Let's go jump out of a freaking airplane. I do not understand why there is a medium on a menu. At all. No clue at all. Why is there a medium soda on the menu? Why is there a medium fry? Do you want fries or do you not want fries? Don't understand it. The point is, though, decide what it is that you want. I will help you achieve that, and let's make sure that we do not regret the choices that we make in our lives. That doesn't mean you're not going to mistakes. Shit, I make mistakes all the time. All the time. And I got wonderful people behind me to help clean that mess up. My wife is amazing. Amy's amazing. I'm so backed by wonderful, amazing people to make sure that when I do mess up, we clean that stuff up. But the big things, at least you took your shot at it. Even if you came up short, take your shot at it. But don't regret not at least taking the shot. Don't regret actually being able to do the things that you want to do in this world. That's all I got for you today, okay? If you want our book, titaniumpractice.com, that's a great way to start. Download that book. Start figuring out how you can become a super GP, how we can get you to become a super CEO. I am absolutely dedicated to your freedom, and I will help you however I possibly can. Again, you get started over there at titaniumpractice.com, and I look forward to talking to you on another episode. Go have an amazing day. I love you all. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Bye.
You've been listening to the Titanium Practice Podcast with your host, Dr. Stephen Freeman. Please hit the like and subscribe button and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Titanium Practice. Questions or comments? Send an email to info@titaniumpractice.com. Join us next time to help turn your average practice into a titanium practice.